I mean, overall, like the drops and what they do, I mean, it's part of their system. I mean, whether or not they're a couple yards deeper or not, I mean, it really doesn't affect what we're trying to do. You know, we're obviously trying to, when they're in zone coverage, you attack the space in between the zones. Man to man, you're beating the man over you. So overall, there wasn't really anything that, you know, we would say that we're looking at as far as going, oh, they did this. It's more of just our execution. On each play, all right, where we can be in the timing and the rhythm, all right, for the quarterback, protect. I mean, that's kind of more of where we look at, not necessarily how deep and where they go, all right, it's just understanding zone or man and where the areas and locations we're trying to hit.
The over 7 on 3rd down and time of possession without losing it as much as you guys did. I'm similar to the Buffalo game earlier. What are some of the keys to preventing that from your point?
Yeah, I think just overall for us, and you know, it was a great environment for us to go out there and you know, really, I mean, it felt like a playoff type environment for us to go in there and learn from things, especially areas where we know we can improve. I mean, they did a good job, obviously, with what the execution of their plan. I mean, we felt like there's areas of that we could really, you know, clean up on. I think ultimately that's some of that results in the 3rd down stuff. But again, you know, when you get faced with those opportunities of games in those situations, it doesn't go the way you want it to go, right? It gives you a great opportunity to come back and go to work with your teammates, all right, as a staff, and make sure we tune up on the things that we need to do for this week.
I'm hopeful to be back in LA, and are there things you can contribute to the defensive game from being with this team just last
Yeah,
year?
I love LA, man. I love living here in Newport Beach, California is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough, you know, Brandon's a good friend, so is Joe. Very fortunate for my time there. I mean, as far as, you know, my input on stuff, I have familiarity with the scheme and stuff like that. There's a lot of new players, so I mean, I don't know, as far as my impact, there's just, you know, certain conversations we might have, but overall, I mean, what we were doing last year, what they're doing this year, obviously there's some differences. So ultimately, we just have to line up and play and execute our fundamentals and techniques.
What stood out to you when you looked at the tape of Tua's performance against the 49ers, some of the overthrows and things like that? What stood out as far as things you have to correct, or was it just one of those days for him?
It's again, like when you look at the environment and all that, like it's like we have such a competitive team. Guys want to make plays, and it's just not like, you know, at times, you know, were we pressing, were we not, were we trying to, you know, really make, like, be perfect as opposed to let the game come to you. I mean, those things are stuff, you know, obviously that we have discussions on afterwards. But ultimately, it's like, hey, in the course of a football season in general, you know, there's going to be a game or two or a couple that you're just like, that wasn't our best, but what do we learn from it, right? So, and I think that's ultimately from that environment, challenges of being outside, right? Right, LA flying all over everywhere. I think that's the challenge of a football season, is that some games where you feel like you had excellent execution, another game where you feel like there's room for improvement. I think that's really the story of a season, and how you improve from that will be obviously how we're measured in this next game on Sunday night.
How did Eric Fisher look yesterday, first day?
Great. It was awesome to have him out there. He's a sharp guy, and we were really excited with the opportunity presented to get him here.
The first play of the game against San Francisco, it looked like Hufanga followed Tyreek as he motioned outside and it opened up that area of the field for Sherfield. I don't know if I was looking too far into it, but what kind of pride do you see from Tyreek being able to impact the defense and open things up for teammates like that?
Yeah, it was kind of, they were in a pressure, so in that's where he's going to match for his leverage. So really, it was a combination of things, and really, I think it comes down to Trent he hit the right spot at the right time, and he executed excellent fundamentals. I think that was a great example of all 11 executing, and at that time they pressured, so there was a hole in their zone that they normally wouldn't have when they were just playing 4-man rush. So overall, I think that him being in the right spot, all right, to make sure they feel to keep their leverage, all right, breaking at the right time in, all right, hitting the ball right on rhythm. I mean, I think all of it factors into that play to allow for that explosive play that we had.
Going back to Fisher for a second, he hasn't played it down in almost a year now.
Yeah, he's very fresh.
I was going to ask, are there signs of rust, or does it look like a guy who's been working out day and night.
I have WD-40 in my backpack, so we're good to go. No rust. No, it's really, I think, ultimately for him, he has such a wealth of experience. I mean, playoff, battle-tested lineman. I don't really, especially a guy older in his career, I don't think there's rust. It'll be for him. Our techniques, our fundamentals, just learning that it's different from Kansas City or at Indianapolis to what we're doing. So I think that's really for him. It's just getting up to speed with that, and then getting in football shape, ready to play. But no, I mean, when he moved around, you could see he's a very talented athlete, and he's a big guy, moves well. So we're really excited to have him. We're glad it really worked out.
Now he's played his whole career on the left side. Can he play on the right? Is that something that's crossed your mind?
I think he does have experience on the other side as well. So, yeah, both sides. So for us, ultimately we look at guys with position flex. So obviously he did have some experience on the other side, and but ultimately, the goal is that if he's called upon to play, is just obviously helping us with wherever we need to. And he's been awesome so far with his contributions mentally, and now looking forward to the physical next 2 days.
Realistically, can he play this week, or foresee that?
Realistically, he could. We'll obviously the next 2 days just getting up to speed with everything we'd ask him to do. But pleased with what we've seen so far, that's for sure.
In the time that you were around Herbert, what's something that surprised you?
Oh man, what surprised me about Justin? How competitive he is. So he's extremely competitive. He's one of those guys that I think whatever you do, he's trying to win because he's kind of, I wouldn't say quiet. He just he listens very well. So when his competitive side comes out, that was something really cool to be a part of. You could just see when the game's on the line and how he focuses and how he's really trying to compete with his teammates. That was awesome. But what a great guy. Just fortunate to spend a year and really get to know him.
Sorry if this is a long-winded question.
I love long-winded answers, though, so I don't know where we're going.
So, seeing Justin and now seeing Tua, working with quarterbacks over the years, being around quarterbacks, I was curious, we're starting to really see that it's not just the quarterback that makes the success, it's the environment that he's brought up in, the system he's brought up in. I was curious if, going up through the coaching resource, maybe a situation that really spoke to you or highlighted to you the importance of, maybe before Tua or before Justin, highlight the importance of moving around the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, my first job in the NFL was with the Saints, and then you look at that was Drew Brees right after he won the Super Bowl. But, if you remember beforehand, they let him out of San Diego. And, hindsight's 20/20 is they're saying, hey, we can't win a Super Bowl with this guy. We need to go draft Phillip. Put him in the Saints system, and now he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. So I think ultimately, and I think it evens beyond quarterback, all positions. You put guys in the right scheme, in the right environment, around the right teammates, and that's when they flourish. So I think sometimes if you don't have those situations, those are where the challenges arise. And I think that's, in reality, it's probably all environments, even, all businesses. I'm sure you guys, too, have had places you worked where you're just kind of like, all right, this kind of sucks. All right, but it's kind of like ultimately, I think that's just what every player is looking for, a system that makes sense to them, all right, that they can own and they can master, they can put their stamp on it, all right, and then they have a staff that works with them, the staff that communicates well together, guys who really enjoy coming to work every day because the pro season's so long, right? When you have a system that you believe in, players that you love working with, a staff you love communicating, working with, that's when you get great situations. And I think ultimately, hopefully that's the environment we're creating here where players love to come to work every day. No problem.
You mentioned Herbert's competitiveness. Is there a specific example that comes to mind?
Oh, just, when I raced him one time, he had to beat me. No, I'm not racing him. He's fast. No, it's just overall, like with him, just you can see his attention to detail in a walkthrough. Right, when we're in 2-minute drills, you get to see he wanted to always be on it because he's always trying to learn. Just everything with him, and I heard like with his teammates, he's extremely competitive too. Just overall, he has that focus. You can just see it in his eyes when he's in that moment, and that's what I enjoyed about him. But the great thing is that Tua has that same competitiveness. Like Drew had the same competitiveness. So it's like you look at these great quarterbacks, like that drive. You'd say that's kind of a common trait of them all because they just don't want to win. They want to be on all their details and make sure they can play their best all the time. And I think that transcends into the rest of their life, and they play cards and they're trying to win.
Obviously, from the outside, I think people are obviously comparing Justin and Tua a lot just by the nature of where they were taken in the draft. But would you say that that's going to be something that's really similar in their competitiveness?
Yeah, I think that they both have that drive. I think that their personalities are very different. But like when it comes to them wanting to win, all right, doing what it takes to win, both extremely similar in that capacity, have different skill sets. But yes, I think like that intangible of the competitiveness is one thing that definitely would they be comparable for them.